Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2022 film The Menu, and I'm going to tell you right now, this one is really good. This is a wonderful 2022 horror release. Obviously, I decided to do something a little different with some colored LED lights, because this is a fancy kind of movie. There's a lot of fanciness in there. It's very visually pleasing, so I thought, let's try out something new. I just got these lights. You can let me know how they're doing. Too bright, not bright enough. Do you like the color combination? Whatever. Yeah, but let's get into it. The Menu, directed by Mark Mylod, who also directed Ollie G in the House, which I actually own it back here, and I love that movie. It's very funny. Also did The Big White, What's Your Number, and lots of TV shows, including episodes of Shameless, Succession, Game of Thrones, and Entourage. He did a lot of episodes of Entourage, which I love, the Entourage series. Written by Seth Reiss, who wrote a bunch for the Onion TV shows, Comedy Bang Bang, and Late Night with Seth Meyers, as well as Will Tracy, who wrote for the Onion shows as well, Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, and the show Succession. So very, very cool. Also, it's interesting to note that one of the producers is Will Ferrell. Yes, that Will Ferrell, comedian Will Ferrell, is one of the producers for this film, which I found very, very interesting. This film has the bigger names. John Leguizamo, I guess he's not so much a bigger name now, but he kind of was. But he does a really great job in it. Anya Taylor-Joy, who does a wonderful job. And Ralph Fiennes, who does the best job. But that's partially because he has the best character, in my opinion. And he just chews scenery when he has the opportunity to. So the acting in this, obviously phenomenal. Love the acting in this film. It is so, so, so good. Now, the food spreads. A little bit of information on this, very interesting information. The food spreads for this were done by French chef Dominique Crenn, who is the only woman in the United States to receive 3 Michelin stars for her restaurant, Atelier Crenn. So that's one of the big things that really stands out with the film is there's a lot of food. It's very focused on food courses, as you would assume, because it's called The Menu. And there's a lot of just gorgeous, like, breathtaking spreads of the food. They make it look like art. And that's one of the intentional things with this, is this kind of drawing someone's craft like being a chef, you know, making it parallel with being an artist in essence. And it really shows up with how they design this, so it's really cool. Don't want to give you too much on a synopsis because this is a no spoiler review, but it's basically about a bunch of rich individuals who get reservations to go to this very high-class, expensive restaurant that's literally on an island. They have to take a boat to get there, and then the boat leaves, and then they're trapped on the boat. And the whole idea is it's this super amazing chef who owns this, and he sources everything from the island, basically, because it's all self-contained, and he has these amazing dishes and all these people working for him. So, extremely interesting concept. It is an extremely interesting film. That's all I'm going to give you on synopsis. I would just say check it out. Just remember, this is horror. They actually say it's horror, comedy, thriller. There's a little bit of comedy to it, but not too much where it, like, messes up the horror and thriller and the intensity of it. I think it's primarily that with a little bit of comedy sprinkled in, so it works. The class level of people is established early in this film, and you get a sense of characters who are out of their depth, which is very important for the film, and important just for the audience to kind of like feel where you would fit in or not fit in within the context of this film. Very, very interesting. I love the way they set it up. They do a really good job of introducing characters and then giving you a little bit of time with each character to kind of get to know them a little bit more. Certain characters obviously are way more fleshed out than other characters, but you at least get a little something to kind of be able to form some opinion of all the characters, so that is good. And they don't do it without taking too much time. I think the film is an hour and 47 minutes. It could have had a little bit cut out because there are some times where it drags slightly, but not bad. And for an hour and 47-minute film with credits, it moves pretty well for the most part. So I don't really have a problem with the fact that it is kind of a slower paced film, because it is. There's plenty to look at. It is visually amazing. The performances are outstanding. So you're good just like taking your time with this film. Plus with the thriller aspect to it, it does keep you on the edge of your seat. It does make you feel like anything could happen kind of at any time. So there's this kind of like intensity that's maintained with the slower pacing. It really does work in the favor of the film, and I like that about it. The pretentious air to the film borders on comical. I think that was intended to be a part of the actual comedy in the film. It's satirical for the most part, and it gets ridiculous to a point when you kind of like look at it from a, stepping back a little bit, more of a macro view. It's ridiculous. It's kind of over the top. It's like over the top satire, and that makes it somewhat comical when you really consider it. So I like that. Very smart. They do break the film into chapters that correlate with the courses that are being served, because it is a multi-course menu. So that's really cool. They'll kind of like have it come up. It'll be like course 1, course 2, and then they will show you what they're having, and then they will also kind of have like a breakdown, like a shot that's like just the plate, and then like some words on the side that tell you exactly what the menu is. Like what are they eating? Like listing all the ingredients for it, which is cool. The detail in the courses is stunning. There's a lot of stuff that is stunning about this film. The acting, the cinematography, the directing, the lighting is really well done. The costuming, the set design, it is all very stunning, visually extremely stunning. But the food is front and center, as it's supposed to be with the story, and I love that about it. It's very cool. If you are just into like super visually pleasing films, like this is your film. You must see this film. The course descriptions work on 2 levels. It's interesting and philosophical, but also over-analytical and absurd at the same time. That's where it kind of crosses over into that, ridiculous, over-the-top satire that makes this film what it is for the most part. It's very interesting. Has a lot to say, and I will say a little bit about what it has to say, which is a little bit spoilery from like a thematic standpoint, so I will prep you before that in case you want to, stop watching at that point. They keep jumping tables in it, and it works well for pacing and also just getting to know the characters. Like, literally, people are laid out at their separate tables, and they'll spend, like, a little bit of time at one table, and you hear what these people are talking about, then you jump to another table, then you jump to another table. It's like that, but it's not done too quickly, because otherwise it would just feel like too frantic. And it really does help keep the pacing going, because it's like, okay, a little bit of here, now we're moving here, now we're doing this. Well done in that sense. Extremely well shot and acted, like I already said a few times. They do a good job of making things feel off without going like full on into the horror realm. This is horror, but there's a lot of it that's, you feel uncomfortable, you feel tense, but it's not like going full-blown horror at the same time. It's very restrained, and that works greatly in its favor, I think. There's a key moment that the bottom really does drop out of this film, and it works very well. Like, the whole time you're kind of like on the edge, and there is this one moment where you're just like you literally feel it, like the bottom drops out, and it's just like, okay, things are very different now. And it's really well pulled off, I think. There are some small comedic moments, but the overall film has a comedy born out of its ridiculous satire, like I said. There is a moment of wonky CGI. Now, this is a problem when you're doing CGI for certain things, such as, well, I'm not going to say what it is, but when you're doing CGI for certain things, the way they actually move does not look right, unless you're doing like the actual thing. So again, I'm not going to say exactly what this is, but when you see it, it's towards the end of the film, you will understand, because it just doesn't look right. It just doesn't look right. But that, that's kind of the nature of CGI. Like I said, this could be cut down a little bit. The script, I think the script is very well written. I wouldn't say it's like the tightest script I've ever seen on the big screen, but it's a pretty tight script, and that's very interesting considering the length of the film. Usually there's a lot of fat when it comes to that, and there isn't a whole lot, so they did a good job with it. It's obvious that they did a good amount of revisions to the script. Okay, so now is when I'm going to talk about some of the thematic stuff, so if you don't want any information on that, go ahead and stop this review right now. But before you do, hit subscribe to my channel. Help me out here. Also hit the notification bell button because I'm putting up a lot of videos at this point, and that way you know when they're going up. But okay, so now leave if you don't want the thematic information. Okay, for everyone who stayed, all you special people, there are interesting statements at play about high society, how it treats others, and how the rest of us basically kill ourselves doing for them and also trying to please them. This is very much focused on society, the ills of society, specifically the ills of society born out of the disparity in money. This is something that's been covered in a bunch of films before, and I think it's covered very well in this film. There is also a point about finding gratification in what you do and how that can actually end up being lost to the demands of other people and yourself when you become obsessed with becoming the best at what you're doing, or just obsessed with being as perfect as you possibly can and just continually improving yourself. There's a point where you can just lose that enjoyment. I mean, think about anything you do. Like that happens to me with my YouTube channel sometimes. Literally, where like I'll get into this rut where it just feels like I'm just doing another video. But then there are times like right now where I feel like particularly inspired and I feel like I'm having a lot of fun because I'm reviewing a film that I thought was a lot of fun and was really amazing, and it just got me excited. So, you know, that's kind of at play here. The other thing is, comparison-wise, there are aspects of this film that made me think of two other very good films, Midsommar and The Platform. I know everyone basically knows about Ari Aster's Midsommar, but The Platform, if you haven't seen it, is still on Netflix. It's like a Netflix exclusive. It's a Spanish language film. It's very good. It is very brutal. It is very horror driven, but it covers a lot of the same kind of like societal economic issue stuff, and it does it in a very interesting, messed up way. So I highly recommend The Platform, and obviously I highly recommend The Menu. So out of 5 stars with half stars of play, The Menu is getting 4.5 stars. I do not give 4.5 stars out lightly on this channel, so the fact that I'm giving it 4.5 stars is a big deal. I really enjoyed this film. It is phenomenal. And if you want to talk about it, go ahead and put it in the comments. You can do spoilers in the comments, that's fine. And we'll just, you know, we'll take it from there. Again, hit subscribe to my channel if you haven't. Hit the notification bell button. I appreciate all that stuff. But thank you very much for taking your time to check out this video. And until next time, keep it brutal.